What's up, guys? Today I'm going to be explaining the concepts of basic EQ filters. So EQ, I explained in some of my previous videos, so you should definitely go check those out. But very basically explained, EQ stands for equalization. So whenever you're done with making your melody, making your beat, making your song, whatever it is, you're going to want to run it through an equalizer to take out bad frequencies and see which frequencies you want to keep and which ones you don't. There's three basic types of EQ filters that I have here. First, high pass. Second, low pass. Third is band pass. So we're going to start with the high pass filter. So this is basically I've drawn a rudimentary EQ shell that you should see that goes from 0 hertz to 20,000 hertz or 20 kilohertz. So what you're going to see usually is this is your sound, whatever it is. While it's playing, you're going to see the audio waves of your sound and the frequency of it going up and down as your melody, drums, whatever progress. What a high pass filter does is a high pass filter takes out the lows in your melody and keeps the highs. So it lets the high frequencies pass. Think about it that way. So what is that going to look like? A high pass filter is generally going to do this. It's going to decrease the filters from here and let the high frequencies go. So it's going to cut off everything above this filter point. So what it's going to do is it's going to basically numb the lows in that sound. So think about it like this. Imagine this is a part of your melody. It's a synth or something, right? And there's lows in here that are clashing with your bass, with your kick, any part of your drums, or any other part of your melody. What you're going to want to do is put a high pass filter on top of it. What's that going to do? That's going to take out the lows in that sound and either extenuate or keep the same the highs in the sound. That way, that's not going to clash with the other lows that are going on in the melody or in the production of your sound. That's a high pass filter. Now, a similar concept is a low pass filter. You guys can probably guess what that's going to do. A low pass filter is going to let the lows pass, but it's going to make the highs either decrease or go away entirely. So what is this useful for? This is useful for the exact opposite situation as a high pass filter. A low pass filter is for your bass, for your kick, for if you have some really deep synth bass, sub basses. Some of those have residual gradients that are in the high area. And that's gonna mix up with your other highs, with your melody or your hi-hats or your snare or whatever. That's going to mess with those and it's going to make those muddier. So you're going to want to take away those using a low pass filter on your bass, kick, as I said, sub bass, synth, whatever. Now the third one, and in my opinion, arguably the most interesting one and most versatile one, is a band pass filter. So what a band pass filter does is it lets you decide which frequency ranges you want to take out and which ones you want to extenuate. So what that can do and what that would look like is I can just make this right here higher. I can make these frequencies stand out more than the other frequencies in my melody. Why is this the most interesting to me? A lot of times in your melody, you're gonna have a guitar, you might have a piano, you might have a synth, you might have a pad. Some of those frequencies, you're gonna wanna hear only parts of it. And you're not going to want to hear the rest of it. And the rest of it is going to muddy up the rest of your mix. So you're going to take those parts out of it or keep those parts the same and just make the part that you do want, if there's a specific sound or a specific portion of that plug-in sound or melody or guitar or piano, whatever, you can increase that and increase the way how much of that you hear and how much of that cuts through the rest of the mix using a band pass filter. This is also very useful for mixing vocals. People's vocals are never only in the lows or only in the highs. I did that backwards, but only in the highs or only in the lows. People's vocals are all over the place, depending on how they sing, depending on whether they have a tenor voice or a baritone voice or whatever. And that's going to be all over the frequency range, from 0 to 2000. It can be anywhere in here. So people's voices have certain elements of them that are going to clash with your melody, that are going to clash with your drums, and that or just simply aren't good to listen to. They're too sharp or whatever. That's when this bandpass filter is very useful. If you layer multiple bandpass filters on top of each other, you can take just the parts. Like, imagine if this dude's, the bass in his voice was too harsh. I could try and cut this down and extenuate this part here. And then maybe this little peak here is too harsh too. I could cut that down too. And doing that, I can make his voice, or her voice, the artist's voice, sound a lot better when played with my beat and with my melody. So using these three principles of EQ filtering, you can make your song sound a lot better. And if you understand it, you can even start mixing people's vocals into your music and mixing your own vocals much more professionally and in a way that artists will actually want to work with you and in a way that people will want to listen to your music. If you want more tips like this, check the first link in the description below. I'm running an academy where I'm teaching all the basics, and from basic to professional, about all sorts of concepts of music production, music engineering, music arrangement. So check that link out in the bio or the description below. And yeah, thanks for watching.